Welcome back, everyone, to Morning Line on this Wednesday. Burns Phillips is with us. He's the Commissioner for the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development. Good to have him on. He's brought with him Workforce Services Assistant Administrator Deniece Thomas. Hi, Deniece. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We can take some phone calls, 737-7587. We were just talking in the last segment about how the unemployment rate right now is at record lows in Tennessee, which means, I suppose, if you're looking for a job, I guess what this means is it's a employee's market as opposed to an employer's market, meaning that employers are looking to hire.
Correct.
And so if you're out in the market for a job, you may have some options available to you, and it's not always been that way.
That's correct.
Which is great. All right, let's take a call from Cece. Hi, Cece.
Hey.
Hey, how can we help you?
Okay, I want to ask you a question. Now, I was just let go about maybe 3.5 weeks ago due to, they say, excessive absentees, and that's not so, truly. But on my separation papers, that's what they said. Now, I've had so many people tell me that that unemployment claims will not pay because of that. Is that true?
I guess you should hit the criteria on how. I mean, if you get fired, okay, depending on the reason, you may not be able to collect unemployment.
You're not eligible, but she can still file. You can always file, and of course there's a process to determine what the facts of the
so hers may
situation
not be as clear cut. I mean, if
so she should go ahead.
She may have had good reasons for those absences.
That's right. So she should go ahead and file, but if someone is dismissed for cause, they're not eligible. But she can still file and go through the process to have that determined.
Okay.
And of course that involves the employer and the employee, former employee.
Does the employer have to pay some of the unemployment?
They pay it all.
They pay it all. So that's why employers would prefer not to, I would imagine, in a lot of cases.
You'd be surprised. A lot of employers are more than willing to
especially if it's layoffs with someone they just couldn't help it, they had to, and they liked these employees, but they just had to cut back.
Or if it's a partial situation where they lay off people because they're job attached. In other words, they're laid off for a period of time, but they know they're going to go back to work.
Oh, yeah.
And employers enjoy that because that keeps those individuals that they desperately need.
And they're right there when the time comes.
Exactly.
Okay, we should say that unemployment is about $235 a week is what you can get. Is
that's
that ballpark?
That's about what we've been paying, but it can be $275. It depends on a lot of different criteria.
A week, and you can collect it only up to 26 weeks.
Correct.
26 weeks, and after that, you're on your own.
That's correct.
As you both said during the break, it's kind of a bridge, correct? Is what you call it for unemployment. The good news is not as many people are seeking it, right? Because they're getting jobs.
That's correct. Absolutely.
What are the hot jobs right now? Well, if you wanted to go and find something, and that's part of the other question I wanted to ask. We have a lot of jobs. It's great when you talk about jobs, but it's also what kind of wage jobs, all right?
Sure.
So what are the jobs out there right now that have really solid wages and that there are availabilities?
I think those are the standard occupations we're seeing in healthcare and IT. I mean, that's kind of standard. If you're interested in those sectors, advanced manufacturing continues to be those that pay traditionally high wages, what we like to say self-sustaining wages, because that's very important. And those are kind of the stabilizers right now. But there are a lot of occupations that are starting to reemerge. And it really depends on an individual's interest in their pathway. And that's what's so attractive about this market. Because even if the wages are not exactly what you would like, there's an opportunity to enter an occupation or sector, get additional training, and kind of move up the proverbial career ladder. So let's say you're not ready to be an IT programmer. You may start off just here. Maybe you're on the phone helping someone do diagnostics for their computers, but you're getting training in the evenings. So here's an opportunity for you to go on to have some success at that company. So there's this kind of upswing for occupations. So we're really promoting a lot of the pathways because everybody goes, I'm not an RN. So I know that's a high-paying job, but I don't have the skills to be an RN. But there are certainly pathways to help you get there, so you're earning wages and then increasing your wage earning opportunities as you move along.
Does this also translate at all into folks who want to start their own businesses or create for themselves as opposed to going to work for an employer? Do you guys deal with that as well?
You know, we work in a lot of partnerships. There are a lot of community organizations, even at the state level. Our friends at Economic Community Development really have some opportunities to push entrepreneurship and help individuals who are wanting to get the skills and the mentorship that it takes to start their own business, because there's a lot that goes along with that. But those opportunities do exist, and we're seeing, again, the interest increase for entrepreneurship as well.
Yeah, and the big picture here, all right, so when more people are working, it's good news for the state's economy as a whole, I would imagine, right? Obviously,
absolutely,
correct?
Of course.
How does it translate in terms of the big picture? And that's, I know, what the governor was after. The fact that, you know, we've got more people working now, so I guess there's more taxes to be collected,
well,
less
there are
unemployment
certainly
to be paid.
If you're employed, you know, you're paying taxes, certainly. You're spending money on anywhere from houses to cars to just consumer goods. So it's always good to be employed. You know, we say sometimes that a job cures many ills. It does, because once you have a job, then you're contributing to the economy of the state and in a myriad of ways, and as is the business.
Okay, now, I wonder if the fact that now it is more of a market for the employee looking for the job, if that will create competition among, perhaps, and I'm thinking maybe just, for instance, the fast food industry or something like that. Because lately I've gone through a few drive-through windows and found myself waiting a long time, which annoys me. I call them slow food places when that happens, because they're short-staffed and people call in sick or they're not there. And so they need more employees, but they can't attract as many of that. Could that translate into higher wages? Meaning that if you want people, you're going to have to pay them, or they're not coming there. They're going to go next door.
Well, yeah, that's true, not just in that area, but in all areas. If a company is not willing to pay the wage that is the primary wage in the particular area that they're in, the job seekers are going to go elsewhere.
Right.
So it's very important that businesses are aware of whatever job that they're looking to fill, that they know what the market is in terms of compensation.
So do we see competition doing that yet, do you think? I mean, are you hearing from the employers, and they may be, you know, it used to be they could take their pick and, you know, it's kind of like, hey, this is what we're paying, you can take it or leave it. There's not a lot of jobs out there. Now that they want to get someone or keep someone who's good, they have to pay them more.
We're certainly seeing competition increase. You know, the number of skilled workers, qualified workers, I won't say it's shrinking in Tennessee, but certainly when you get the right employee, there's a lot of competition for that person. But what we're saying with the employees is it doesn't necessarily always translate in having to pay a higher wage. One of the things we promote heavily with employers is becoming the employer of choice. And sometimes that means some have the ability to have flexible hours, some have the ability to offer additional perks that
other benefits maybe, or
exactly,
something?
that employees find just equally as attractive, because again, it translates into a benefit for them in some kind of way, even if it's quality of life, it translates. So being the employer of choice is very important. And again, if you can't offer that in wages, finding ways to do things for employees so they feel like they matter and that they're valued, to continue to increase that loyalty so that they're not going up the street. Because the reality is, you know, it's easy to find $1 more an hour if you're looking for that. So that's important right now in this market.
And what Deniece has pointed out is very important, because statistically and information that's available, those aspects of employment are almost certainly as important, sometimes more important than the actual wage.
Absolutely.
Because you have to be happy where you work, and you have to be satisfied with what you're doing, and so you might be making a high wage but miserable.
Yeah.
And that's not going to keep the employee there.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I know sometimes you have to have a certain amount to make ends meet.
Sure.
But once you get to that threshold, man, I would take less money for a place that I enjoy going to.
Absolutely.
And it starts with the people when you do that.
Absolutely.
If you have a boss that's a jerk, see you later. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get to more of your phone calls. Stay on hold if you were waiting through that break, and we'll get to you right after this. We'll be back.
This is a